Hello, everyone. My name is Sonia. Pardon me. Hello, everyone. My name is Sonia from Quest, and I'd like to welcome you to today's Reconnect Deep Dive session. I have a few reminders before we get started. Attendees will remain muted throughout the session. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the demo. Attendees can type their questions into the Q&A module in your Zoom toolbar. Your questions will be answered at the end of the session. At this time, I'll turn things over to our speaker, Logesh. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Sonia. Let me share my screen and we'll get started. All right, I hope all of you are able to see my screen that is shared. And Sonia, can you please confirm if you're able to see the PowerPoint presentation that is shared?
Yes, I can see it. I can see it perfectly.
All right, thank you very much. All right, I see still a few people trickling in, but let's get started. We only have 30 minutes for this session. So once again, welcome you all to this demo of delivered visualization in PeopleSoft HCM. I hope all of you are having a great virtual conference so far. It's the day 2, so we have a lot more items coming on in the next couple of days. So with that, I am Logesh Balasubramanian, and I am a managing director at SPRMC Consulting. If you haven't come across already, SPRMC Consulting is one of the sponsors of the HCM track at the Quest conference. And over the next few days, me and my colleagues, we have a lot of different topics and insight sessions that we are going to be connecting with you across all different pillars. So looking forward to all of these sessions in the next few days. Personally, I have been working with PeopleSoft HCM throughout my entire career, close to 20 years now. I started with working on PeopleSoft HCM project as a technical resource and worked across different modules, different areas, and now running a practice of helping out various customers with their HCM HR transformation projects. I work quite a bit with higher ed, healthcare, and public sector customers. Of course, when it comes to PeopleSoft, we work across all different industries, but predominantly the majority of the work recently has been in these 3 areas. Specifically, when it comes to PeopleSoft HCM over many years, the trend has been we work on various projects where it's implementation of new modules, implementation of new features. Specifically on the HCM side, the PeopleSoft community has been thriving, implementing a lot of new things, taking up a lot of new things that are being delivered in the product. And one such thing, the visualizations, which we used to refer to as Kibana Analytics and Insights, that's the core focus of the session today. And given that it's only a 30-minute demo session, I will focus on what are some of the highlights that you need to be aware of, what are some of its capabilities, some of the considerations for you to think about and plan to make use of some of its delivered capabilities. That's what we will be focusing on. Of course, every single item that I'm going to show you today, there is a possibility to deep dive on these items. If there is any interest, feel free to get connected with us. And also there are different variety of sessions on the analytics as topic, how to best practices, tips and tricks, various sessions even in this conference. So if any of these things that I'm going to show you is of interest to you, feel free to attend sessions that are relevant to those topics. Feel free to reach out to us as well. So with that said, let me get moving. Quickly about who we are as an organization. We are essentially an organization entirely focused on PeopleSoft application consulting. So we do everything that customers need in terms of implementing, upgrading, maintaining, and enhancing their PeopleSoft application. So everything that you need from a PeopleSoft perspective, consider it as a one-stop shop. We do have a lot of recognitions over the years. The 2 most important aspects called out here. We have been partnering with Oracle for a long time. In addition to that, we are a SOC 2 certified organization and also a Gartner recognized vendor. The reason I'm highlighting this is essentially we can be trusted with your data when it comes to supporting your system, enhancing system, and so forth, right? So these few things I wanted to highlight. Another very important aspect, as you go through this conference, attend these sessions, various topics, given the time limitation, every topic, every session is going to be around 45 minutes to an hour. All those are going to be like highlights predominantly. So if you have a need to get deep dive into any of those items, over the next 3 months, we do have a fairly a comprehensive calendar of trainings that are available. There is a QR code here, and there is more information on website on all the training, public training classes that are available. These are for individual trainees. If you have multiple people from your organization or one person, you can go to the website, register for these trainings, classes scheduled on different days. A very brief highlight of the topics are in here. In fact, even the first topic, open search dashboards, Kibana, that's essentially what we're going to be talking about today as well. So if there is a need for you to deep dive into any of this, feel free to check out our website for registrations as well. With that said, let's jump in straight into the topic of our discussion, which is data visualization. One reason I did call out this topic heading as a data visualization in PeopleSoft HCM is due to this transition from Kibana to OpenSearch. So essentially, let me touch upon the thing that you are seeing on the right-hand side first, which is the People Tools version and the visualization software applicable for that version. So Kibana was the software that was introduced as part of the People Tools versions from 8.57 to 8.59 onwards. It's been an excellent tool. We have many customers who have gone live with using Kibana in their production environment. Last year, due to various reasons, primarily related to licensing and the cost aspects of it, Oracle made a decision to switch to OpenSearch, which is once again now a freely packaged software as part of People Tools. So if you are on 8.60, one of the latest patches of 8.60, then if you're looking to implement visualization analytics, then OpenSearch will be your go-to tool. Now, customers who already did Kibana for the analytics and insights can easily transition as well. There is a very simple transition path to move from Kibana to OpenSearch. However, if you haven't already implemented Kibana, then you can directly go to with OpenSearch once you're on tools version People Tools 860. So you would come across different sessions at this conferences that talks about Kibana or OpenSearch or the transition of it. Essentially, both of these application software serves the same purpose. It is to provide highly rich, insightful analytics out of the data that you already have in your PeopleSoft system. Now, before I get into the system, walking through some of those analytics and capabilities, I want to quickly highlight for the demo today, I will be using a PeopleSoft HCM PUM image 47, so the latest PUM image that is available. However, these Kibana and these data visualization for various modules in HCM has been getting released over the last few years now. In fact, as early as image 34, which is roughly 3 years or more, close to 4 years now. So depending upon what visualizations you are interested in, what modules you use, there is a quick cheat sheet here that talks about which visualization was released in which image versions. Essentially, PeopleSoft application, if you all are probably already aware, uses selective adoption. So regardless of your PUM image, you should be able to pick up these specific visualizations, even something that is released fairly recently onto your instance and be able to deploy it. For example, if you're using performance management module, the visualizations related to performance was released in PUM image 46, which is 3 to 4 months ago. So if this is something of interest to you, you can definitely selectively adopt that particular piece of it and use it in your environment. Okay, that's one. One last slide before I jump onto the system is essentially a very simple architecture of how these visualizations work. This is very important so that you understand how the data that is coming up in the visualization is sourced. So essentially, the data from your PeopleSoft application, the things that you see on the left-hand side, the PeopleSoft database, app server, web server, browser, that's essentially what you currently use. for accessing your PeopleSoft application. All your information is stored in a database that is rendered through the app and web server to the user. That's what you currently use. To make these visualizations work, be it Kibana or OpenSearch, either of this software, they basically take a copy of the data source that you are trying to build visualizations onto a separate server, which is also going to be part of your PeopleSoft infrastructure if you decide to do this going forward. And all the visualization related data and the visualization objects are going to reside on this separate server from which users are going to access it. And the reason I wanted to show this is the information that you are accessing through the visualization is not real time. It is a copy of the data that you have in PeopleSoft. However, that copy can be refreshed as frequently as you need it, and you can achieve a close to real-time visualization. Okay, just wanted to highlight that. We will, when I talk about some of the visualization, when I show some of the visualization, I will explain where some of these things are important for you to be aware of. Okay. And as Sonia said, if there are any questions, feel free to post it on the Q&A, and I will try to wrap up a few minutes early and review the Q&A section to see if there are any questions that I need to address. All right, now switching to the in-system, logging into the HCM from Mesh 47 for the demo. And I'm going to try to go at a fairly rapid pace just so that we have limited time and want to cover quite a lot of things. So I'll try to keep things moving as quickly as possible. Now, I've logged into the HCM system. Latest tools, latest application PUM image might be slightly different to what you're currently using in your production, but it's still the same PeopleSoft HCM environment. The colors might be different, the tiles may be different. Ignore those aspects for now. And I'm on the Workforce Administrator homepage and going into the Workforce Insight tab. So one clue, wherever you find this insight as an item, Workforce Insight, Benefits Insight, Payroll Insights, it essentially means you are getting into something related to these visualizations, right? So just be on the lookout if you're trying to navigate in your environments. That's a fair basic clue to know of. So when I get into this insight section, I see two kinds of things. One, there are a few tiles in here which looks to show the information right on the tile. And you can see there is a slight difference between how the information is rendered on some of these tiles, like position status, versus the colorful information that is rendered on here. There is a basic difference in those renderings. All the tiles apart from these two tiles on the right-hand side, workforce equity and workforce composition, they use the PeopleSoft Pivot Grid Analytics framework. So they rely on the data within the PeopleSoft database itself to render this information, simple analytics information that is what I would consider as more operational analytics. These two tiles over here, workforce equity, workforce composition, these are the data visualization using either the Kibana or open source search software. So when it loaded, you would have seen an open search symbol. So for this demo, this environment is using the open search, the latest search software, analytics software that is in use. You can see this logo as well. When you see this, it is actually the open search analytics software. Now, this is the first analytics. Now, as I said, every single dashboard in here, we could deep dive and review into what all is in there, but we don't have a lot of time for that. So I'm going to keep it pretty simple, focus on some of the highlights here. So whenever you get into any of these dashboards, the first thing that you would notice is the header section at the top has some of the filters and criteria for you to narrow down the scope of your analytics. So for example, to start with, everything is blank. I haven't selected any specific item, business unit, location, department, and the number of days that I want to look at. Everything is blank, everything is default. That means I'm looking at the entire data. Or I can be a little bit more specific and say if I want to review my data for a specific criteria. Let's say I want to do it for a global business unit, not for all the business units, but just one of them. So when I apply that filter, then all the analytics on this page, on this dashboard, are going to be refreshed based on that criteria. So narrowing down the scope of what data you're looking at, there are filters on top of the page. And this format is going to be similar for all visualizations. You have criteria on the top of the page. However, what specific criteria that you want to have will vary from one place to one visualization to another. For HR, it might be business unit, location, department. For payroll, it might be pay period or another criteria, pay group, for example. So the criteria could vary depending upon what area, what visualization we are looking at. But the topmost section is the area where you try to narrow down the scope. Let me work with a full scope in here. And within every single visualization, of course, let's quickly go through this. Let's say there is a donut wheel visualization. There is basically a highlight of a statistical number. There is a horizontal bar graph, vertical bar graph, pie chart, and even a map-based visualization. Various options available. When we go to other visualizations, you will see a few other formats, keyword, tags, visualization, and so forth. So depending upon the type of data that you're working with, there are different kinds of visualizations that are possible. What we see here are all delivered out of the box. Nothing has been built for this demo. It is basically Oracle delivers these pre-built visualizations. Of course, customers have, since you have this data and the access to the tool, you can build whatever different formats of visualization using same data delivered by Oracle or different data elements. All of that is available to you because you now have access to this software as part of your People Tools framework. Okay. Within each of these dashboards, all of these visualizations are being generated based on your data in your system. As I said, that data gets indexed as part of the visualization software and is being used in the visualization. Now, every visualization is basically a representation of the data. So when you click on any of these items, you could maximize the panel to see it in more detail. These are what we would call as interactive visualization. You can click, narrow down things. If there are additional layers, later I will show you visualizations that are multi-level as well. So if there are additional levels, that information can be accessible here. So here we are looking at employees by ethnic group. So basically, it uses your core HR personal data. There is ethnic group field as part of employee personal data pages. So it basically uses that to show this information, how diverse your workforce is currently. And this information that is shown here can also be downloaded into a format like a CSV. There are two options like a formatted CSV and raw CSV. You can download that information. Let's say I want to create a download as a formatted CSV. There is a CSV file with the same information. Now, this is basically looking at downloading the data that is the summarized version that is used in that particular visualization. But at the bottom of every dashboard, let me go back to the main page. At the bottom of every dashboard, you will typically see the raw data available that is used in that entire dashboard. So you see the table column format here, all the data information. There is option for me to export in a raw or formatted form. So I can do an export of pretty much the whole data that is being used by different visualizations on this dashboard. Looks like it's still low. So essentially, this is essentially the data that is being used by various visualizations on this particular dashboard. So you would have this option on pretty much every single visualization. Now, these are at a fairly high level. What are some of the possibilities of these delivered visualization? Now, let us look at this. So the reason I specifically opened up this item as the first item to show is in the PowerPoint, I showed various modules, what visualizations are available. So these visualization, as I said, is delivered out of the box, and depending on the data that it uses, there is very minimal work that you as a customer would have to do to make use of this visualization. For example, this particular visualization has ethnic group, gender. When you look at it, you would definitely have this information in your system. You don't have to go capture this information in addition to what you have, because gender, for example, is a mandatory field, and ethnic group, though not mandatory. Pretty much every organization collect this as part of the core HR information. There is information here about compensation ratio by age and gender, which is calculated based on your uh, salary grade setup, mid, median, low salary setup that you have, that determines the comp ratio of that person. Your department information, your job title, pretty much, I would say 99% of the organizations would have this information already in your HR system. You don't have to go and collect additional information to start using this. And the information that you have set up, that you already have in the system, can be easily indexed to make use of such visualizations. One other important thing to remember is that I spoke to you earlier about, I showed an architecture diagram where the data in PeopleSoft is sort of indexed somewhere in your search server to make these visualizations possible. How often you want to refresh this data? That would be determined by what kind of visualization you are using. So for example, a workforce equity item, the data might be changing on a daily basis, but your reporting on this may not be needed as frequently. So you might want to do it at a weekly or a monthly, or in some cases even on a yearly basis. If there is a need for such insight information, then you could index the frequency of indexing this information for this visualization would be determined based on that. So when I go into other modules, I will show you where there are different kinds of insights. One are insights that are used for strategical purposes. Most likely your higher level management would need that information. And then there are insights that are visualizations that are used for operational purposes, that is needed by the individual operational teams that are doing day-to-day work. So there are both kinds of visualizations that are available. Okay. So let me do a quick time check. I think we are getting into the last 5-7 minutes. So let me quickly move around. If there are any questions, feel free to post them in the Q&A section. So let me go into the benefits area. So 3 things I wanted to highlight is HR, benefits, payroll. Majority of the customers use that information. So the visualizations in these modules are something that you can easily deploy. You have the data in your system. You have the tools as part of your PeopleSoft application. You don't have to go buy anything. And you most likely have the infrastructure in place as well, because the search server analytics visualization uses the same search server that is used for search purposes. So you probably have everything in place for you to make use of this capability without having to buy additional hardware or software or go through the implementation like an expensive implementation project, right? So here is a very good example, benefits related visualization, where benefits utilization is more of a strategic visualization compared to Ben admin processing insights. Ben admin processing insights is more of an operational visualization. So let's look at both of these items quickly. So let's say if you're using just base benefits module, you just have your benefit enrollment information in there. This visualization covers everything related to your benefits enrollments. How is your benefits being utilized by your employees? So starting with what sort of employees, what sort of members have picked up or enrolled into different plan categories, or you can look at by plan type. So for example, let me expand this one. This is a good one to look at. So this is my employees count by plan type. And when I look at this number, let's say medical, obviously medical would probably be your most enrolled plan, life plans, etc. The size of the colors show you easily how many people have registered. Now this is an example of a multi-level visualization. So when I click that medical, within medical, then it drills me down to the next level, which is I might have different medical plans. So earlier I was looking at plan type level. Now I'm clicking medical as a plan type. Now I'm seeing the visualizations on different plans. So my medical HMO plan 1 is the one that is most used. So this is an example of a multi-level visualization option as well. So let's go back in here. Oops, sorry. I should minimize. Now, these are very powerful visualizations, as you can see here. Let me kill this filter. Don't want to just look at medical. So as we can see here, how many employees have taken up or enrolled into different plans, within your population, how many have enrolled versus how many have waived. So if you look at this, these are really powerful information for you to see. Medical, majority have enrolled, small portion is waived. When it comes to other plans like dependent life and other plans, supplemental life, majority, there is a big portion that has been waived. What kinds of dependents are covered and what's in terms of what percentages. You can see in terms of medical, spouse and child, majority being covered. In terms of dependent life, you see children being covered more. So those are easy to digest information provided in easily understandable visual format. And here is one that is really powerful as well. Plan migration on a yearly basis. What plans have been increasing in terms of adoption versus decreasing in terms of adoption over a period of time. So this is like data from 2018 to 2023. How the most cases there seems to be more enrollments. In some cases things are going down, etc. So once you have all this data, like of course you do have all this data, once you have a tool like this, it becomes really powerful to make use of all this information that is there. Okay. So the reason I said this visualization is like a strategic visualization is that you wouldn't need to be looking at this on a daily basis or a weekly basis. You would need your organization, your benefits, like rewards team might have to look at this most likely on a yearly basis or a half yearly basis to understand maybe what plans are not getting picked up enough. Or maybe you don't need to be opting for those plans. Maybe it's time to revisit some of those things, right? So this is more of a strategic visualization that help in that process over a long period of time, right? Let me also quickly show the Ben admin processing inside. Let's say you are using benefits admin module where your enrollments, life events, open enrollments, all those things, new hire enrollments are all automated using the Ben admin module. In that case, there is, let's say, a Ben admin processing inside. So let me give it a second for load, where I would consider this as an operational insights, meaning it should be open for people like your benefits administrators to be having access to this so that they can use this to understand what sort of volume of work they are handling, right? For example, what volume of benefit events are in different statuses. So for example, I'm looking at the data for last 1 year, not last 5 years. How many are in finalized enrolled, how many are in prepared status, where various other statuses in the process. So this is more operational for you to understand what is outstanding to be processed and so forth. So the audience that you would roll these items out to will also vary. You would roll out your operational visualizations to your administrative groups, but you will roll out your strategical visualizations to your leadership group. So who needs to have access? How often do these things need to be refreshed using new data? All that would depending upon what kind of visualization it is. I was planning to show a lot more, but I think we are just about time. Let me quickly see if there are any questions before answering this. I see one question. Can we access the tables views behind this visualization? Definitely, yes. So when I go to the presentation again, if I talk about this in here, all this visualization information, the data that is extracted out uses PeopleSoft queries. PeopleSoft query framework is the framework that is used to extract data from PeopleSoft database. So you have access to the queries, you have access to the views. If the queries are referring to any views, tables, everything is in your control. You have access to the entire information. Okay, and once the data is sent to the visualization tool, open search tool as well, you have access to the data in the tool to go and build your own visualizations or play around with this dashboards. You can clone the dashboards, create new dashboards. You can do all of that. So see this option, open and open search dashboards. That will let you actually go into your dashboard tool and create your own visualization. All right. As I said, there are 20 or more dashboards. And if you look at the individual, close to 100 visualizations that are available as delivered out of the box across all the modules. Please do check those out. I will make this copy of this PowerPoint available as well as part of the platform. I do have some examples of other module analytics that are provided here, which has been rolled out at other customers that shows how effective this information can be. Okay.
Thank you, Lakesh, for such a wonderful presentation. It was very informative.
Thanks, Anya.
And yeah, sure. So there's no more questions at the moment. Okay.
Yes,
We'll make
I
this.
just see one question. Yes, and I think that's been answered. So yeah, feel free to reach out if you have other questions.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.